Hello everyone, I hope you're all well. Welcome to our next snippet. This is snippet 33, again continuing on the same size card, 4 by 6 inches, Pink Frog smooth card. And what I'm going to do this time is start with my Tag O Tag stamp set 984. I absolutely adore the size of this. It's just a lovely size tag. Even though it's an A7 stamp, I've taken up the whole A7 stamp set with the tag, so it's a really good size. I'm using my black Nocturne ink, and what I'm going to do is just add my tag around about there. So just stamping that tag with black Nocturne ink, just allowing that ink to sit on the card just so that it absorbs into the card, and we just give it a little bit of time. Using my acrylic blocks just to lever the image. I've created a mask out of paper just to place that on the top, she says. And then I'm going to take the tag once again, and we're going to ink that tag up. So give that a really good inking, and then I'm just going to sort of tilt the next tag sort of on one side. I've got that mask in place, which is perfect. It just keeps that in place. And we'll just allow that ink just to sit on there to give that time to absorb in. So if we lift that mask off, that one appears behind. So whatever you mask off, the other one appears behind. I'm then going to take my Stag stamp, which is stamp set 805, and I'm going to use the little stag here. So we're going to use this little stag stamp. And I'm going to take my black Nocturne ink again giving that a really good inking. And what I'm going to do is just stamp this just inside the tag. Now if you want to, you can stamp the tag sort of the outside in black and the inner image, the little bits of text, in a lighter colour if you wish, and then you can stamp over the top of that. I'm just giving the stag time to absorb into the card, even though it's just a small image, just giving that time to absorb in there. Just beautiful. I'm then going to take a circle. Now you can use a circle of any size. This is around about sort of 2 inches, I think, or 1 3/4. So I'm just going to take the circle and let's use this one. Move these up here. So we'll use this one because that's a bit scratty. So I'm going to use this, and then I'm just going to use my black micron pen just to draw around that. And then I'll just draw a little bit of a squiggly line so it's hanging, and my little bauble top just on there, like so. So I've just got that bauble top on there. Let me see if I can get my measuring tape, just so I can tell you what size that is. That circle is, yeah, it's probably 1 3/4, just over 1 3/4, coming up to 2 inches. So just draw around anything that you have. Don't stress too much. I'm then going to use Hickory Smoke Distress Oxide ink. I'm just going to pick up the Hickory Smoke, and I'm just going to go around, just around my tags. Make sure you've got plenty of water, just so that it moves. Just so it moves around your tags. If it isn't moving, just add a little bit more water. And also make sure you're using a good quality card that will allow you to move that ink. So just going around my tags and around the circle. Just blowing there because there's a little hair just on there, which I don't particularly want. So let's just drag that out. Let's just drag all that colour out. And what I would suggest, because you've got a little bit more time, what I would suggest is that you go back in with a little bit more depth of colour, just around again, and just go in and add a little bit more depth of that colour. If you can spend a little bit more time doing that, you'll get a better depth of colour. So just spend a bit of time just adding a little bit more depth just around the tags, just to give a little bit more. And then if you use plenty of water, you can just blend that out. Now what I would recommend is that you actually let that card dry so that it rests, and then go in again with the grey. What I want you to do then is take the Stag stamp, which is the larger image. So just this image here, this is the Stag we're going to use. And what I want you to do is just ink the Stag and just stamp the Stag. It's only the Stag you want. You don't want the triangles on this occasion. There's so much on this stamp that it gives you so many options. So I want you to, there was water on that, well done Tracy. So just stamp the Stag in your Nocturne ink and just allow that just to absorb into the card. Lift your acrylic block, and then I want you to cut the Stag out like so. And cut your Stag out, which I've got one coloured. I've got my Stag here cut out and coloured, and I've coloured it with my Ecolines, which is reddish brown and mahogany. And I'm going to show you how I coloured that on my circle area here. So what I did is I started with the reddish brown, which is 422, and just added a little bit of the reddish brown around the edges, like I'm doing on this bauble, just to my Stag. I then scribbled a little bit on here, a little bit of water, and then I just blended this out with a diluted version of the same colour. So let's just blend that out. So just blended that out with a diluted version of the same colour. There we go. And just keep going back and just building the layers of colour up. Obviously, the longer you can take building those layers of colour up, the better it gets. Then, whilst the card is wet, I went in with my mahogany, which is 441, and I just dotted it around the edges. And because my card is wet, it bleeds out. It's quite nice to watch actually, but it actually bleeds out because there's moisture in that card. So then I go back to the first colour, which is the reddish brown, and then just go in and dilute that all out. I can go back in with my reddish brown and just add another layer of colour. And it will look better the more time you can spend. Take off the excess and just blend that out. let's use some clean water, and I want you to sort of blend that out to nothing. Just so it blends out to nothing. There we go. Let's just wipe up. And what you will do is you will let everything dry, and you will go back in with another layer of colour. I'm then going to add my little stag just here, like so. Just to add that. And I've then used the word stag that is on the bottom of the image we've stamped. So it's on the bottom of this image here. I've stamped that word stag in my Nocturne black ink, just so that you can see that. Let's just make it, no, I don't, that's perfect. So what I'm going to do then is just add the stag wording here. It's entirely up to you. Look through the camera and see if you want the stag image wording there or you want it here. And I think I'm going to go for there. Just to add the stag wording there. Now remember, this is going in your journal, so you don't want too much definition. So it's going in your journal. So you don't want it to stick up too much. Okay, there we go. And make sure that is straight. And then when it's sort of dried a little bit, go back in with a little bit of that colour. What I'm going to do then is use my bleed proof D8 Dr. PH Martin's bleed proof white. I can just add a little bit. You can add this to a pot if you wish, and you can reactivate it. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that, and I'm just going to add some little splatters just over my card. Just to make it a little bit of a snowy feel. Now what you have to remember when you're using this bleed proof is you need to make sure that you clean your brush, because that white, you know, is opaque, and as you can see there's a lot of that opaque on there, so you just need to make sure that you give that a little bit of a clean. Don't scrimp on that. Let's just clean our brush. And then what I want you to do is just add, obviously you would wait for this to dry, and you're going to add a little bit of shading just under here, just under your stag wording. Just add a little bit of shading. Obviously you will let your white that you've just splattered to dry. And what I want you to do then, when your white is all dry and it's completely solid, I want you to go in and add a little bit more grey around here. Make it darker around here, so it's a lot darker than the other areas. I will blend this out when my splatters have dried. So just go in and just make it a little bit darker around there, and then you can just sort of blend that out just so it's a little bit darker. Just take your time and blend that out. I won't do it all, you can do that after the video. So there is your snippet 33, and I hope you enjoyed that. And we will be going on to snippet 34, and yes, you guessed it, we'll be using the stag. I have to say I adore that tag and the size of it. I may also add a little bit of text from 756 Miniatures just to give it a little bit more detail in the background. So I hope you enjoyed that. Love to all, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.